Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. It did it to me again. It said the chat is disabled for this live stream. I have no idea why it does that to me. And it's within this software. You know, it's within this Streamlabs desktop software. Because when I go out on YouTube, which I have to have a different window open for that, I can see the chat out there. So I don't know. It just makes it complicated for me. It makes it nerve-wracking because it doesn't work the way it normally works. Oh, well, I do have a couple of things for you today. First of all, I did take off and went metal detecting for a while yesterday, and I did find the typical trash, just lots of junk, nails and shells and bullets and things. I didn't really find anything that I would say for sure was Civil War, so it didn't really interest me much, and there really wasn't many things that were like, relics. Only thing I found that was halfway decent, and this isn't much, is just this, and you can't really see it. It's just a screw together rivet, and it just has a fancy design on it, and it does screw and unscrew together. So it's probably not real old. It could be maybe 75 years old or something. It almost looks like it's silver because it's untarnished, but I imagine it's probably nickel or something like that. But that's the only thing I found that was even worth bringing back. Everything else, I do bring back everything I dig up, just so you know, but I mean, that was the only thing that was less than trash, I guess, or better than trash. I don't know how I don't even know if I'm making any sense at all. And now, because of this, the way this is working, I can't see my outline. Okay, so I do have a quick follow-up video on the pond crisis yesterday, so here that is. Well, here's my 24-hour follow-up to the pond patch. I think it's worked. I see zero water, at least I don't think I do. This is really muddy still because there was so much water and it just soaked in. But I see, well, now that I say that, there does look like there's some possible water here. I don't know if that's water or just leftover sludge. Might still be another day before we can really tell for sure. Let me look and see if there's water down in this hole. That probably would tell me. No, there's no water in the hole here, and that was full of water before, so I would say we fixed it. I don't feel any water coming out of this, but I don't know. We'll have to wait another 24 to get a better idea. If that's still that wet in 24 more hours, well, then it's probably still leaking. Hope not. The button on this, the only thing I think that's slightly negative on this camera, and it's just slightly, is this button is a little hard to press. It's the button that starts the video and stops the video. It's particularly hard to stop it. I don't know, it's just hard to push. Other than that, I love that camera. It's just a little hard to push. I do have a video on what I built this morning, so let me turn that on. While that's playing, I'm going to run and grab something. I saw in the comments there kind of a reference to something, so I'm going to go grab something to support that comment, and I'll be back in time to go live again after this video, I'm sure. Well, I got her all set up. Let's see what you think of it. I don't think many of you are going to like it. It looks a little spooky from down here, and actually I have it tilted back. I needed to have it more level.
I have a ladder here. I have not climbed it yet. This is probably the sketchiest part. It might be better if I got up on top of here, put the ladder over to it that way. I don't know. I'm going to start climbing this and see how this feels. Might not feel too good. Might feel okay. It feels really solid right now, but we'll see as we get up higher. And you can see the ladder is spanning the edge there, which is kind of weird, but I think it's solid. I don't think it can go anywhere. It's high, that's for dang sure. Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm going to get up there yet. I'm not sure if I got enough guts, especially with it tilted. I need to have help when I set this up. This is just temporary. But that's going to get me up way higher. Previously, I could only get as high as this window. And I did all of that from the height of that window. So with this, I should be able to get most of the way up to the top, I would think. Though I'm not so sure until I get up there. It's such a steep angle. That's the problem. The roof is, you know, it's so steep. Yeah, I don't know. You can't just walk on the roof. If I could, it'd be no problem, but you can't just do that. It's too steep for that. At least it is for me. A real roofer might be able to handle it, but not this boy. So, for now, that's the idea. I'll have to work up some courage and some better ideas here to make it safer. I'm sure some of you are probably saying, well, you got to have rails around it. Well, yeah, sort of, kind of. That sometimes that helps. Sometimes it gets in your way. When you don't have rails, you don't depend on them, that's for sure. So, you know, you kind of are more careful. So, I don't know. I know that's probably going to sound stupid to most of you, and that's okay. It just go ahead and sound stupid, I guess. But that's what it looks like. That's way better than what we had, though, because I was only at the window height, and that was just not enough. And it's better to be on some platform like that than it is to try to get up on that roof. And if I did get up on the roof with the platform there, it would catch me if I came down, you know. That's the other reason I want the platform. So we'll see how it goes.
And I don't know, you couldn't tell as much about that. I did make a full video on building that. I don't know, let me know in the comments if you would like to see how I built it. I did build it out of a pallet. You know, a shipping pallet, and I reinforced the pallet just so you know. You know, the forks go through the pallet, if you are aware of that, and then above the forks I actually lined the inside of the pallet with a couple of boards, so that when the forks are going up, they're actually lifting on two boards that connect to all the pallets. In addition, you know, I mean, like the pallet already had its own boards, but I put two flat boards there that go directly above the forks, and then I tied that into the boards in the pallet also. So that kind of tied that whole pallet up a little bit more secure. Then I built everything off of that. I built it about 4 foot higher. So in other words, instead of standing on a pallet, which would be 6 inches off the ground, you know, if you had it sitting on the ground, now you would be about 4 feet off the ground. Well, the forks lift about 11 feet-ish, roughly 11 feet on that skid steer. So now I'm up roughly about 15 feet, somewhere between 15 and 16 feet high. And that's really just about the edge of the roof. Which is good. I mean, it gets me up there really close, where before I was about roughly 4 feet below the edge of the roof. So anyway, and I have pretty much made up my mind. I am definitely going to put a back rail on that. I'll probably do that this afternoon. So yeah, I don't know. I want the rail, but I don't, it's hard. It just makes it some ways, it makes it harder to get up and down, and get on the thing. So I don't know. Anyway, I am going to put something on the back side of it there. Mainly because it's up so high that there's nothing behind it. Where before, when I was up that high, the arms of the Bobcat were a little bit behind. Well, actually, the back of the pallet fork has a backing, so that was kind of like a rail. But now I'm up so high, I'm above all that, so I think I am going to make some kind of a rail behind it. Not in front of it, because in front of it, obviously, I got to work, and the roof would be my rail, if you will, on the front. I mean, if you fell off the front, you're just going to fall on the roof. So anyway, it's just not easy being me. But seriously, getting up to that roof is no easy thing to do. It's not like your average house roof. I mean, it would be to a roofer. It wouldn't be any more difficult. But to me, it's a lot more difficult. So anyway, that's just the name of the tune. Now I'll see if I can get the comments going here, and we'll see who's here and what's going on. David Tharp says, howdy all, and David Tharp says, I went to the store and bought a gallon of milk. The cashier asked if I wanted to put the milk in a bag. I told her, no, I'll just keep it in the jug. You're just so practical. You're just so practical. Let's see. Daddy, I didn't expect to see you here today because I figure your grandson's having his surgery. Postponed surgery, April 3rd. Had a emergency this morning, mostly the evening. Okay, well, now we know why. And you're still praying for us, so thank you very much. Yeah, and we're praying for your grandson. David says, if you go to the Chinese restaurant, try the Peeping Tom. I'm pretty sure it's similar to Peking duck, only it's made with turkey. The Peeping Tom. Okay, Tom Turkey. Let's see. Bill Rhodes, good afternoon, everybody. And Jerry. Well, that's good. I'm glad I'm included. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrand, I thank everyone for the prayers for my grandson. I'm thinking about making him wear bubble wrap. Yeah, you might have to. Tom Armstrong, here's what I went after. He says, I saw a bunch of metal detectors using serrated shovels to cut through roots easier. They are a bit pricey for a hobby. Do you think notches could be cut into regular small shovels? Well, yeah, Tom, for the longest time, I didn't get a specific shovel. For the longest time, I would just use whatever I had. Then I started buying these thin spade shovels from like Menards. They got just a straight long handle, but their blade's only about 4 inches wide. Well, those work pretty good. And the first one of those I bought, I even cut it down narrower. But unfortunately, I brought the top in like this, and then I went down narrow all the way down the blade. And by bringing that in, that weakened the blade, and it caused it to break eventually. So I gave up on that one, and I bought just a regular one and used it. I also shortened the handle on it some, which was a process, but I did shorten the handle on that one I got from Menards. And it works good, and I still have it, and that works great. But it's, for this ground here, because it's so rocky, it's still a little wide. Even though it's a fairly narrow shovel, it's still wider than your metal detecting digging shovels. So I finally spent the big bucks, and I bought this one. And I got to tell you something. In my opinion, this shovel is worth its weight in gold. I mean, it is. It just is amazing, the difference. And it does have the serrated sides. And yes, I have used them to cut some roots and things. Does it work great? It's not like a saw. It doesn't cut like a saw does. But it's maybe better than nothing. And but this is its looks are deceiving. This is a very heavy shovel. This thing is heavy. It's hard to explain. It's as heavy as a big shovel. Even though it's tiny, It's really solidly made. I just take it and put it in. I take my fingers and I get the handle like that, and I drag it behind me, just on the ground, and like that, and I'm detecting with this hand, so it's out of the way, away from the detector, and I just drag it on the ground behind me, and I really don't even notice it. It's not much of a problem, even though it is really a heavy shovel. And it digs so much better than any other shovel I've ever used here. I did put this shovel on the products I use page of my website. If you're a gardener or somebody like planting bulbs or trees, I'm telling you, get this shovel. You'll love this thing. It's killer. I'm not kidding you. It's that good. I for a long time wouldn't pull the trigger, and then I kept thinking about buying one, and I kept trying to figure out which one, and finally settled on this one, and I'm glad I did. I really like that shovel. So if you have any reason to dig at all, I don't care what the reason is, get that shovel. You'll love that thing. And then I also, at the same time, sprung for this. And this has the serrated edges also, and I think I have this on the products I use page also. And yeah, I like this thing a lot too. In fact, they might have came as a kit. They're the same brand. They might have came as a package deal. I can't remember now. CKG, it says CKG. Very heavy made, both of them. Really super solid, a lot stronger than they look. You couldn't break that or bend that if you tried, I don't think. It's very solid. A lot of those kinds of things are real flimsy. These are not flimsy at all. They're super strong. So anyway, in my opinion, it's worth the money. Actually, your biggest expense in metal detecting is the detector itself. So spending money on those, in hindsight, it just was a no-brainer now. It's kind of like that blue chip pick that for a guitar. I would never have spent my own money on one of those for as much as they cost. I just didn't think it would be worth it. A pick, spending that much money on a pick. But after you guys bought me 2 of them, I will never be without one of them again. They're that good. And it's the same way with that shovel. David Thorpe. I think James Bond would have been a better spy if he didn't tell everybody who he was. Bond. Yeah. Bond, James Bond. Yeah, I think so. I think you got a point there. Scott Roberts, in that video about your pond leak, your shadow makes the camera handle look like a lollipop. That was a lollipop. It wasn't a shadow. No, I didn't notice that, but okay, I'll agree with that. Gino Hitch, hi Jerry and friends. Pretty nice day here in Monroe, Ohio. Maybe you could do a video on how to start your own channel. Maybe. Honestly, it's one of them deals where, just like me, and almost all the YouTubers have said the same thing. I've heard some other YouTubers say, how do you start a channel? In fact, the Matt Carricker, the fellow that was super big on YouTube and had the largest gun channel of anybody, he just retired from YouTube, and but he answered that question just recently of how to start your own channel. And you're going to think it's a real cop-out answer, but it's the truth. Just start. You just literally get a camera and start. And you'll make mistakes and you'll screw up and you know all these problems. But the thing is, if you have, but only start it if you have something you're really passionate about. Like me with building and repairing the instruments, that was a big passion. Well, now my passion's working on this farm and trying to fix this thing up before I can't do that anymore. And so that's my passion now, is to work on this place, try to make it look nicer and just fix everything. But anything you have a passion about, generally speaking, will eventually gain a following if you stick with it. I think for me, because I was in such a tight niche, the musical instrument repair, sure, there's a lot of people that care about that, but compared to puppies, not even any. It's like 1% compared to pets. That's why I kept telling JR, start one on your horses and your dogs and stuff, and you'll pass me up in no time. Well, he only took a year to pass me up. It took me 10 years to get where I was. But I was in a niche. That's the difference. If you start something that's a niche, like metal detecting, you'll get a lot of viewers and stuff, but it's a niche. It's just going to be tiny. If you have a passion about something that's a much bigger, niche, like pets, you're going to get a lot more viewers a whole lot faster. And that's really the bottom line. And it was really hard for me to try to ignore all the negativity in the comments, because you're going to get a lot of them. And I don't know why that is. People are just ignorant. That's the only thing I can tell you. There's just some people are just ignorant. I'd slap them upside the head if they were here, But other than that, if you could just ignore that and just know you're doing a good thing, try to accept the constructive criticism, and I did. Lots of times people would say, well, if you do it this way, it'd be a lot easier. And I said, well, that makes sense. I will, And so I would change and do it that way, And I didn't accept every idea, because a lot of them really are kind of lame. But on the other hand, try to have an open mind and be able to bend and accept the constructive criticism that you get. And even sometimes when it's negative, if it makes a good point, even though it's a negative comment, you got to be open and switch if you can, or if you should. Sky Roberts, if you fall off that ladder, try to fall towards the road. It's a shorter drop. Boy, isn't that the truth? Yeah, and I think I am going to for sure get up on it from the road. That part I don't see. The other one, before I built this, I could go right out that window and get right on it. It was easy. It was a piece of cake. Just step out the window and you were on the thing. Well, I can't do that now. So I have to get on it from a ladder somehow. I could ride it up with Sue raising me up, but that's how my buddy fell out of a bucket and died. So, I don't want to do that. Anyway, let's see. Sky Roberts, just put on your Superman cape and fly up there. Well, that's an idea. I hadn't thought of that. Let's see. Scott Roberts, how about just renting a man lift to finish that roof? Well, it would be a waste. First, for a lot of reasons. Well, if you got the real expensive heavy duty one, yeah, you could do that with one with a arm that reaches out. Because I have to find something that'll work on the other side also, and I think the way I've got this, it'll work on the other side. Now, a regular man lift, those flat square ones that you drive around that just go straight up with a scissors lift, that will not work for this location. The ground would be too soft, and it's too hilly on the other side. You couldn't even possibly use that kind. So you'd have to have the kind that you could level and reach with an articulated arm and reach out. You could do that on the other side. But they're real expensive if you haven't checked them lately. Of course, a hospital bill would be real expensive too, or maybe a funeral too. I get that. But I don't plan to go to the hospital or plan to have a funeral, so I'm really trying to make it as safe as I can. And as long as I can reach up there, it wouldn't matter whether it's a production, one that I would rent and spend big bucks on, or if it's one I made. It really wouldn't matter. The one I made is plenty solid. I'm not worried about that at all. That thing, I think I could lift my mini skid steer up on top of it, and I think it would be fine. And it weighs about 800 or 900 pounds, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just making it more safe, which will be like a rail and whatever else I need to do. Preston Johnson, Jerry, can you throw a rope across the top and anchor it to the back, use rope and safety line. Well, I'll probably have a safety line on this when I get up there at this height. Not sure exactly how I'll do that yet, but I'll probably have something. Scott Roberts, David Tharp, they call me Bond, Gold Bond. Let's see. David Tharp. Albert Einstein had a brother. His name was Frank Einstein. His head was screwed on. Gino Hitch. Thought you were going to work from inside the building. Maybe you should rent some Safeway scaffolding. That would be plenty safe. Yeah, again, the scaffolding idea would work on that side of the building, but it would not work on the other side. It would not work. It's just not room, and it's stupid. It's a steep, crazy steep hill on the other side, and just, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a way you could make scaffolding work on the other side. You could do that, but it wouldn't be no easy thing to do. Ronald Todd, and I'm not sure that this is going to be easy on the other side either. In fact, I'm not sure it'll work at all on the other side, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to the other side. I might have to get scaffolding or something for the other side. I don't know yet. The other side's going to be tough. I figure if I could work out the problems on this side, then I'll have at least a shot at the other side. Yeah, the other side's really going to be hard. Ronald Todd, Jerry, it looks like you're going to have to ladder off the top of the wall and do the shingling. Yeah, I will have to get on the, and by the way, I said it in a video. I don't know if I said it in the one you guys saw today, but that working from the inside doesn't work. I tried that. It just doesn't work because you got to fold out that tar paper stuff, that underlayment. And there's no place to put it when you're reaching, you can't reach over that it's hard to explain. It just doesn't work. I never thought about all that. And plus then you're trying to lean way down and it's a steep lean and I'm old and it's, I had that Meniere's disease. So I have a lot of, vertigo and yeah, it just doesn't work. I have to work from the outside going up. Ronald Todd, Jerry, it looks like you're going to, Zappa. Jerry, rough weather hitting tomorrow, long line through Rolla, St. Louis around 11. Be careful. Oh, bummer. Well, thank you. Steve Mays, the bottom of your camera being hard to press may be good thing, makes it accidentally stop recording. Yeah, well, there's always the other side of the coin. It's actually right up here on top, and it's really hard to press that button. I don't know why they made it that hard. Other than that, that's the only thing I found on this camera that, I'm not a huge fan of that, but other than that, it's a great camera. Everything else is just really good. Bronson Taylor, don't climb ladder, get Sue to lift you up. Well, as I said, that's how my friend fell out of his and died. So it's not really safe to lift up and down on those kinds of things. I think we could do it safely. I really do. I don't think that would be an issue, but then again, I'm going to be doing this a lot, and Sue isn't going to want to sit there all day long up and down with me. So I just got to find a way to deal with it. Bill Rhodes, Jerry, if you want to get rid of the moles, get some Grub X. It kills the grubs and the moles will go away. I think Sue went and bought something like that yesterday. I don't know if it's Grub X or not, but I'll ask her. She did get, and by the way, those holes apparently are some type of a grub out there on the riding ring. She dug up 3 of them, and they do have some kind of little small grub in them. They're really tiny grubs, not the bigger grub that you typically see. Gary Hayden, Jerry, you mentioned yesterday a method to fix a low nut slot was to make a paste with CA glue and baking powder. Have you considered using antler dust instead? Would it make a harder mixture? I think I have done it with antler dust. Now, me typically, I don't remember mentioning that yesterday, by the way. If I did, it must have been in an old video. No, I personally don't like the method at all. I don't like using CA glue and baking soda or, some other combination. Me personally, I never did that for a customer. Have I ever done it? Yeah, I've done it here or there. Maybe on a really cheap instrument, maybe on something I'm doing for free type thing, that kind of thing. I've done it, but it's not my method. If it's something I'm really counting on, I'll just make a new nut. That's just the way I fly. So I don't really like that method, but it works. It will work. It's marginal in my opinion, though. Simon Jardine, I have my fretboard scrape like you showed us, frets polished and still scraping that top poly coat on the body. Members advised I use an orbital sandal. I have one. I'll get there. Good luck with it. I know it ain't no easy deal, especially if it's that fiberglass type smell like you said you smelled. It's not simple. Don Nice, Jerry, good looking red shirt you have on. Well, thank you. It was the one I was the MVP for the Turkey Bowl. That was a couple years ago now. Don Nice, Jerry, good looking. Oh, I'm sorry. I just read that. Jeff Puris, please, Jerry, hire a roofer. We need you around. Not likely to hire a roofer. Scott Roberts, I was talking about a snorkel lift, not a scissor lift. Last one I rented was about $800 a day, but that was about 10 years ago. Yeah, well, I think you can't even get one driven out this far for probably less than $1,200 or $1,500. No, I'm not going to do that, I don't think. Like I said, I'm not worried about the lift. The lift part's the easy part. It's the doing the work and getting up there is the hard part. And you can fall out of a snorkel lift too, Or, those things, I mean, don't get me wrong, the same thing could happen on this Bobcat. But if a hydraulic hose busts, I know that most of those snorkel things have ways to, prevent it from falling. But trust me, if a hydraulic line breaks in the right place, you're coming down. So, and that could happen on the Bobcat too. It's it's a calculated risk. David Thorpe, thumbs up, everybody. Please do. Scott Roberts says, Gary Hayden, a helicopter mechanic here for the National Guard, uses super glue and baking soda to repair dings in the copter blades. Boy, I didn't know they could get away with that. I would never have believed they would get away with that. Yeah, they're so picky, especially on helicopter blades. I mean, like super picky. I'm just surprised he could get away with that. Maybe nobody knows he's doing it. Scullyard 1971. There's no question marks, but he says, much love from Oklahoma. I bought a tenor guitar and thought about you. It's tuned GDAE. Well, cool. Cool. I'm glad you made a comment there. Scullyard 1971. Let's see. Ronald Todd, Jerry, I'm with Jeff Purish, your age, and I don't think I would do it today, and I used to do roofing. Well, okay, I get you. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think my age and I think my ability, if I didn't think I could do it, I wouldn't try. I'm sure I can do it. That's not the issue. I just want to do it safe. Gary Hayden, my dad made small windmills and put them on wooden poles. He was convinced the vibration kept the moles away. Yeah, I've heard about that too. I have seen that, and they make little spinners on little wires that you put down in the ground that's supposed to get them away. It might work. I don't know. I'll tell you right now, you'd have to have a bunch of them the way it looks out there right now. I mean, I've never seen that many moles in one place ever. It's just crazy. And it's up here around the house, and it's down by the barn too. Truly have never seen that many mole runs ever. We used to have them. I mean, you saw them everywhere. Even when I was in my dad's lawn service working, I mean, we saw mole hills and, mole tunnels everywhere. But this is exceptional. I'm seriously telling you, there's a bunch of them here. I've really never seen this many. Steve Mays, falling from the roof doesn't hurt. It's the sudden stop that, I get you. I completely get it. Like I said, I don't plan to fall. Anything could happen. I'm not above it. I get it. I'm heeding your warnings, but I'll get it done. And I'm going to try to do it as safe as I possibly can do it. Just like everything else I do. Like cutting trees, cutting all the firewood I cut. There's a whole bunch of places where that could go wrong. Starting with the chain right there on, trust me, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. And I just do it as safe as I can, and that's the best I can do. Thank you all for being here. We will see you tomorrow with something else. I'm going to go out there and build a rail on that scaffold. I'll see you tomorrow.